Hey, so in this video we're going to be looking at how to resolve accessibility issues with WordPress sites. And we're going to be using two tools that can work nicely together. We're using Aardvark, which provides automated scanning combined with manual testing support and guided remediation to help us both identify and understand accessibility issues. And we're going to be using Amender to fix issues when they arise with third-party plugins. That can be a bit of a sticking point for WordPress because with plugins you don't actually always have the control you need in order to fix an accessibility issue. So you can't go in and just change the HTML as if you were, say, building something from scratch custom. And Amender, which is my tool, was designed basically to give users that control back. So it's a point-and-click tool that basically allows you to click on any section of your website, and then you can just tweak the HTML however you like, and thus control basically the final output that is sent to the browser server-side, or making dynamic changes that happen in the browser. So let's have a look at both tools now. So this is, once you've signed up to Aardvark, you'll have a dashboard here, and on my theme over demo site here, I've got some settings I can customize. You can basically keep these the same, but I've just enhanced the number of notices for thoroughness, and I've used Axe Runner, which is just an accessibility scanner I was more familiar with. Down the bottom though, this is something I recommend you do, is setting some login details so that Aardvark can access your website as a logged in administrator, which basically means that it can see the draft changes that you're making, and so it can validate that you've actually fixed something or all of the items on the page before you even hit publish. And it just means that it saves you some clicks, so you don't have to click publish, but also you don't have to clear your cache and things like that. So it's just a slightly smoother workflow. This is optional. You can publish all of your changes and then run the scan again, but this just saves you a bit of time. So now, if we just go and look at the pages, the other one thing you need to do to make that work is just to make sure that you've got login for scanning on the particular page. And then you click this button here, which runs a scan, which I've already done, and then it will identify some issues here, and then we can go ahead and just browse our website and find all the issues. This just tells us that we need to log in, that's fine. And we've got various icons here which tell us how important or not a particular issue is here. So this is saying the impact is very high. We can click this button here to get some more details. And if we read this description, how to fix it, basically says that we're not allowed to use this AAA orientation attribute in this context here. So here we have the Amender interface active with the site preview contained in the middle. And this page was actually created with the Bricks page builder. But the unique thing about Amender is that we can change any aspect of the HTML just using point and click. So for instance, I can change this heading here. And if I wanted to actually change the h1 tags HTML, I could switch to HTML, and then I've got control over all of these options here. But actually, with things like headings, we could just change that within the builder ourselves. So where Amender is really useful is when there's a particular customization option that's missing in the editor that you're using. So if we go to this Bricks interface here and select our tabs component, there's no option here in the settings to remove attributes that have been hard-coded in. So we can actually add attributes, additional ones here, but there's no way to actually remove them. But this is the kind of thing that's quite simple to do in Amender. So I'm just going to select the container element here by jumping up, and then I'm going to use that option to edit the overall HTML, and then click here, and I can find that ARIA orientation attribute there, and I could just delete it. But this is one way of doing things, but it's not necessarily ideal because now we have to manage all of the tab content within Amender, and we might actually prefer to just keep using Bricks for that. So we've actually got some other options here. So I'm actually going to create a new type of change, and I'm going to say I want to remove. And in this aspect field, there are various options, and some of them listed here are attributes, commonly used ones, but we can actually enter any attribute as long as it's valid, like ARIA orientation. And then we can click Enable Removal. And just to confirm that that's working, we can inspect our element down here, and we can see that that has been removed. If I was to undo this and refresh, you can see it comes back, but we'll just re-enable that and then refresh to see that that's now gone. Now, the only other option that we want to set is this event here. So the default event means that the change will happen on DOM content loaded, and that just basically means it happens in the browser. But for our scanner, we want to set server HTML ready so that the fix is included in the actual HTML that's sent to the browser in the first place. So with that in place, we'll just go back to Aardvark, and then we can run another scan. And then we will refresh the issues. And we can see that we've dealt with our warning. So now let's look down at this issue here. So this is basically just talking about contrast. This is something that will happen quite a lot with the default builder color palettes. And Aardvark makes it easy to identify real contrast issues that need fixing. So let's go to Amender, and then we can just select this label here, and we could add some CSS ourselves. Amender supports writing CSS code. But there's also another option called Microthema where you can enable Microthema as an add-on, which I'm just going to do now. And with Microthema enabled, we've basically got all these different visual ways of applying CSS. If I click on this again and I go to the color, I can just use a color picker to choose, say, a darker color. But if we're trying to make our site accessible, we might also want a bit of help from the AI assistant that Amender has, which will have knowledge of exactly which hex codes will make it accessible. So I can say, make the text contrast accessible. And actually, it can be very helpful if we go back to Aardvark and actually get the details. Because it did some analysis which we can use. So I'm actually just going to say copy all of this and right down to this bit here. So our AI assistant knows which element we're working with. I'll just send that. And it's a good idea to have the option of having balancing speed and thinking time when you're asking it to do accessible adjustments, just so that the AI doesn't give you a quick answer that might be wrong. And it tells us here that it's set the hex code to the 33333, and that this ensures a contrast ratio of 5091, and that this will meet AA specifications. And then now, if we want to apply that targeting to the heading below without having to input the color twice, the way to just adjust the targeting is to click this option here, and then I can choose an option that targets, say, 2 elements. That seems about right, and then update that, and then we fix both of these in one go. Now we also might want to adjust the contrast of these bars a bit too, so I'm just going to select this overall container element. I'm going to open my AI assistant again and ask, make the progress bars blue and make the contrast accessible. And we can see that it has updated both of them blue, and it's much clearer to see. Now it's worth noting that while Amender makes this process more approachable, you still need to understand what you're doing at the HTML and accessibility level, so you can make informed decisions about contrast ratios, semantic HTML, and ARIA attributes. So we can now jump back to Aardvark and just run the scan again to see if it's fixed the text contrast issues. And we can see that the warning signs disappeared. We do actually have to manually refresh the page, so if I just Control F, we then get the most updated preview of the site. So I hope you found this video useful. The main advantage of using Amender when it comes to fixing accessibility issues is that it provides an effective workaround for third-party plugins and builder output when you can't control the source code. It's an ideal mitigation layer when upstream fixes aren't immediately possible. That said, when you do have the ability to fix issues at source, such as theme code or builder settings, that should be your priority. Amender is perfect for giving you control when you would otherwise be stuck. Amender is completely free to use until you're ready to publish your settings, so you can test out how it helps with these accessibility issues yourself. You don't have to pay anything up front, there's no credit card. You only need to buy a license to publish once it's effectively solved the problem you're trying to fix. And please do also check out Aardvark for finding all of these accessibility issues, explaining them in a human-friendly way, and running scheduled scans so that you can make sure that your sites remain accessible and you can fix any problems as they arrive. And Aardvark is also completely free to use, so you can just test it out on your homepage without having to put any credit card in and just start addressing your accessibility issues right now. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.